al-Rashid, even though his son Ma'mun, his son Amin, that these people were the biggest oppressors of Shias in their time, we see that still Shias accepted positions in their government, and when they contacted Imam Rida or contacted the Imam before him, Hazrat Imam Musa Kazim, and asked and said, we're working for this zalim government, and no matter how bad Obama is, he's not Harun al-Rashid. No matter how bad this other mal'oon is, Romney, no matter how bad Romney is, he's not Ma'mun. So we see that in the history, followers of Imam Musa Kazim, followers of Imam Rida, they took positions in the government, and in fact their imams told them, it's your duty to stay in that position. It's your wazifa to stay in that position, even if you have to do taqiyya, because some righteous person should be there. Now back to Imam Rida. Send a salawat. We're faced with this position as Shias in North America. What do? Do we stay away from the government and don't get involved in anything that has to do with the running of the country? And should this be our official policy? Or should we, forgive the use of the word, integrate? And when we say integrate, we don't mean give up our values or give up our beliefs or give up our ideology. But do we begin to see ourselves as citizens and active participants in America? The answer to this can be seen in the answer of Imam Rida to the demand of Ma'mun. Send a salawat. Ma'mun sends his messenger, Sahal ibn Fadl, to Medina to tell Imam Rida that Ma'mun has summoned you and you have to come now. Immediately Imam Rida understands what's happening and what's going to happen and what's going on. And he begins to inform members of Bani Hashim in Medina that when I leave, this is it. I'm not coming back. He leaves Medina and goes to Makkah. And in Makkah he makes Umrah. In Makkah he makes it absolutely clear that this is the last time Ahl Makkah will be seeing me. The Umrah that I perform, you take note of it, you pay attention to it. This is the correct way to make Umrah. I will never make Umrah with you again. And he leaves Makkah. When he leaves Makkah, he takes the same route of Imam Hussein when Imam Hussein left Makkah, going towards Karbala. And he uses the same tactic of Imam Hussein. That, you know, back in those days, it's not like today you jump on an airplane and there's a direct flight. In those days, you're traveling by caravan, and every evening, every night, you get to the closest town and you camp there, you stay there in that town overnight until you move forward to the next miqat, to the next halting place, resting place. In every one of these places that Imam Rida stopped, he made it known and made it clear to the people. This offer of the Khilafat is false. This offer of Wali Ahad is false. Ma'mun has no good intention. Don't get excited about this. Even Ma'mun himself, when he tells Imam Rida that I want you to be the Wali Ahad, and Imam Rida accepts, he says, I accept it. But you should know, this thing will never happen because I will die before you. Imam Rida tells Ma'mun that, I'll never be your Wali Ahad because I will die before you. So the question remains, Imam Rida already knows that he's going to die before Ma'mun. Imam Rida already knows that the Wali Ahad, the Khilafat, will never reach to him. So why does Imam Rida accept the position? When the position is offered to him, why does he even say yes? You're a dead man already. You're living on borrowed time. You're an imam, you've already been informed of the time of your death. Why do you accept the offer? One example, and there's many examples of this, but one example that I want to mention to you is the example of Da'b al-Khuzai. He was a very famous poet, very famous follower of Imam Rida and follower of Ahlul Bayt, and he was a poet. You know, this week and the week before has seen a lot of tablighat, and by that I mean propaganda. You know, the whole YouTube video against Prophet Muhammad and propaganda. Many of the wars are carried out by propaganda. And one thing I hate to see is these protests against a video. Not just in the Middle East either. I mean, it's wild when you burn down buildings and kill people over a video. This is wild. But what's ridiculous is that even Muslims in America are standing up and protesting against this video. You know, this is showing you that many of the battles that we have are propaganda battles. And the way you fight propaganda is by putting out your own propaganda. If the enemy sees that you are not defining yourself, then he will define you. If you are not saying who you are and what you're about, then the enemy will decide who you are and what you're about, and he'll put a definition and he'll put a label on it. We see that Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam, in the position of, with the situation of Da'b al-Khuzai, this Da'b was a poet, and his poetry was excellent. Eloquence, fasahat, balaghat, of a very high level. Poetry at that time was the propaganda, the YouTube, the Facebook of our day. This man was living on the run. He was hiding from the law. His poetry was so famous in the support of Ahlul Bayt that the government had put him under death sentence. So he was running and hiding from the authorities, living life on the lam. When he heard that Imam Rida had been offered the Wali Ahad and had accepted, he came out of his hiding. And he came to see Imam Rida. And Imam Rida in public supported Da'b al-Khuzai, which released him from this threat of the government. Understand how good this man's poetry was. He recites a poem that is known as the Golden Poem. And I wasn't able to translate it from the Arabic, and I didn't even preserve the Arabic in my notes for this evening. But the poem is such a solid poem in support of Imam Rida and the rights of Ahlul Bayt. He recites this in the presence of Imam Rida, and then now he's a free man, he leaves Imam Rida. And when he's returning to his town, he's waylaid, he's stuck up by bandits. Bandits fall on him and rob him. One of these bandits who robs him recites his own poetry to him when he robs him. That same poem that Da'b al-Khuzai recited to Imam Rida has spread already so fast, so far, that the bandit who is robbing him is reciting his poem to him. You think YouTube is fast, you think Facebook is fast, you think internet is fast. When Allah says in Quran that there were nations before you who were more powerful and stronger than you, it's true. This guy's poetry was of that level, that just he recites it with Imam Rida, he leaves, and on the way home he's robbed by a brigand who's reciting his poetry to him. In many cases, Imam Rida uses his position as the Wali Ahad to achieve a number of victories for the Shias. Many of those Shias who were prominent and were wanted by the government were released from this position by Imam Rida. Second, many of these ideas and ideologies and new philosophies that were being advanced were countered by Imam Rida in the court of Ma'mun. Ma'mun would actually organize that we will bring all of these different ulama, they'll come, they can ask any question from Imam Rida, and Imam Rida can answer. And these sessions were organized between philosophers and followers of all different religions, all different ideologies. Today, many of the arguments that we rely on in dealing with other religions, other philosophies, in our books of aqa'id, are learned were taught to us by